Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 Create a Sim video. So today I am continuing my Fill the World Create a Sim project, and this time we are creating a family for the house called Rustic Residence in Windenburg. So this house is the only empty pre-made house that's in the more rural country neighborhood in Windenburg. I forget the name of it, but it's not the island and it's not the city, it's the other one. And this house in particular is very special to me because it's actually the house that I'm currently using for my Big Family Little House Challenge. So that actually made it a little bit difficult for me to create Sims for it, because all I could think of when I was looking, because before I create the Sims, I like to look at the house one more time to kind of get an idea of okay, what's in the house? What types of furnishings do they have? What type of Sim would probably live here? And so I was looking at the house and I was like, oh wow, this looks so different, because in that series now we've kind of remodeled the inside a little bit a couple of times and put in some different furnishings, and it's a little bit different looking now. So I was just having a good little trip down memory lane there. So this is the Devine family, spelled D-E-V-I-N-E, not D-I-V-I-N-E. And it's just two Sims. It's a mother and son. Their names are Colleen and Paul. And Colleen is actually an elder, although right now she's currently a young adult on screen, which, if you haven't seen any of my Create a Sim videos before with elders, what I like to do is I like to create them as young adults first, because I think as far as Create a Sim goes, that's when you have the most customization, because by the time they become an elder, some of their facial features are a little bit differently shaped than they would have been when they were younger. So you get a better idea of what they would actually look like as a young adult, and what their genetics would be if you create them as a young adult and then poof, age them up to becoming an elder. So that's what we just did here with Colleen. So she is an elder, and she is very artistic. She is in the painter career. I believe she's level 7 or 8. I don't actually remember how far along she is, and she's a single mom, so she, they have this cute little house out in the middle of kind of nowhere in Windenburg, and she raised her son, and now her son Paul is a young adult, and so it's just been the two of them. They're basically their entire lives, and so as a result of that, they are very, very close to one another, and if I was a mean person, I would say that Paul is a bit of a mama's boy, but he's not, because I'm not a mean person. But if you want to think of him that way, go right ahead, because I wouldn't blame you. He is very attached to his mom. He's a young adult, and typically young adults move out and, find their own places to live. But he's happy living, in his childhood bedroom with his mom. He actually has also picked a career very similar to hers. He is an art critic, so he's not quite as artistic as his mom is. He's stronger in writing than he is in art, and painting and stuff, but he does still have some painting skills, obviously. But his thing is really more writing about art, and hers is more about creating it. So they kind of, they're a little bit of a yin and yang to one another. But whereas Colleen's life goal has always been to be a successful painter and an artist, and she's happy to have raised her son, but her focus has always been on her art primarily. And, Paul's dad was never really in the picture. I don't know if she ever even bothered telling him that she was pregnant. Maybe she's not even sure who it was. And so, family is important to her, but it's not been her primary focus. Whereas Paul, I think, will want to move out at some point because Paul has the successful lineage aspiration, I believe. It's one of the family ones. I'm pretty sure it's successful lineage. So, and obviously, in order to do that, you have to have a spouse and then children. And so right now, he doesn't have those things. So, just, as a throwing it out there type of thing, if you're looking for a good single man in your game, Paul might be the guy. Just throwing that out there, because I don't know. Personally, I always feel whenever I'm playing The Sims, because I tend to play female characters most of the time, because obviously I am a female, so it's easier for me to identify with them more. I feel like we just don't have enough good men in The Sims, like, that are single. Like, a lot of the single guys, they seem to be, like, players, which, if you're creating a female sim who doesn't mind a player, or a male sim who doesn't mind a player, then that's fine. But if you're trying to, like, settle down and start a family, it's sometimes kind of difficult to find, like, good guys. And I always, like, I tend to drift towards, like, the same pre-made sims, so, you know, whenever I can introduce a nice young person, especially a young guy, because obviously I tend to create many more female sims than I do guys, too, because to me, it's just more fun. They have more creative sim items. It's just a little bit easier to do. So, but yeah, so always on the lookout for a good man in The Sims. So, Paul is, you know, he's a good guy. He is artistic. Well, he's an art lover. And he is neat. And, ooh, I forget what his last trait is. I don't remember. But I know that Colleen is also an art lover, but she is clumsy and I believe good? Ooh, why can't I remember? Hold on. No, I closed it out. I had it, like, pulled up on my internet browser, and no, it's gone. But we'll see it here in a minute once I assign her traits. So, yeah. Also, I did have a difficult time finding shirts for her, which her chest became very saggy as she became an elder, which is fine, like, that happens, I get it. But, like, a lot of the shirts, because a lot of the clothing, I think, is really designed primarily for young adult Sims, so a lot of the shirts, when I would put them on her, they would just sort of, like, bunch weird around her chest and her midsection, because she also, you know, she's, I mean, like, she's an average-shaped person, but she doesn't have, like, a tiny, tiny waist, because, you know, she's an elder. So a lot of the times, the things that I was picking out for her to wear were, I don't know, like, they probably would have looked okay on her, but the mesh was weird, so that was kind of annoying. But yeah, so I think overall, I think she's got a good sense of style. She tends to gravitate towards a lot of, like, reds and maroons in her colors, and purples, a lot of purple. So any of those kind of, like, warmer jewel tone type of colors are all about Colleen. Okay, so she's an art lover, she's good, and she's clumsy. Yay, I got it right. So yeah, so that's Colleen. And, you know, honestly, maybe she wants to settle down with a nice older gentleman. Who knows? But for the time being, she seems pretty content with her painting and, you know, living with her son. And, yeah, so I think Paul is a good guy. He's just, you know, I think he just has, like, this sense of obligation towards living with his mom, which honestly isn't that bad of a thing, you know? Like, there are many more worse things out there that you could have besides, like, oh, I feel obligated to live with my mom because she raised me and sacrificed everything for me, and now she's older and I want to make sure that she has help because she's getting older, and that makes it more difficult for her to do things, which actually, if that was an actual feature in this game, that, like, older Sims had, like, struggles more, besides, like, I know that they can get fatigued more easily, but, like, let's be real. Other than, like, woohooing and working out, that almost never comes into play. Like, I do wish, and I feel like at the ends of the spectrum, the age groups are a little bit neglected still. Like, babies are very neglected, and elders are very neglected. And I mean, the first thing to do with babies would be, obviously, to make them not objects. Like, let's free the babies from the cribs, people. Or, at the very least, like, even if they could be, like, transferred from one object to another, like, I get that they were like, oh, we don't want people just setting their babies down in the middle of the floor. Whatever. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I would rather have the ability to put them in something like a little swing or a bouncer, if that meant that we would sometimes run the risk of putting a baby on the floor. I don't know. That's just me, though. So anyways, so back to this sim. This is Paul, obviously. So Paul kind of, you know, he's a bit more reserved in his colors. He tends to wear a lot of, like, greens and blues. Obviously with his red hair, that, you know, that's kind of like his ideal color, if you will. So I stuck with a lot of greens and blues. He tends to be, I would say, like a little bit overdressed sometimes. Like, not in a bad way, but like, he always tries to present himself as like a very put together person. Okay, I mean, not with the top hat. Like, got rid of the top hat there for the formal wear. Didn't need quite that dressed up. But yeah, he's a very, I don't know. He's not a casual person. Let's put it that way. So, anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this lovely little voiceover now because we're almost to the end of the video. So if you would like to download Colleen and Paul Devine, they are available right now on the Sims 4 gallery, so you can find them by either clicking on the link in the description box below this video, or you can find them by searching on the Sims 4 gallery, either using my username, Mrs. Tomato 1018, or the hashtag Mrs. Tomato 1018. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can do so down below. I put out a new video every single day, Monday through Friday. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!